Senior White House advisor Jared Kushner came to Jerusalem along with negotiator Jason Greenblatt. They met with Israeli Prime Minister Beniamin Netanyahu and Palestinian Authority Mahmoud Abbas. Their visit is the latest attempt to forge a peace agreement between Israelis and Palestinians. Listening and learning from Israelis and Palestinians, that's what Israel's defense minister says the Trump administration is doing.
They're proceeding cautiously, as should be, listening to all parties in the region, trying to find out what's realistic, as opposed to the top-down tactics of the Obama administration, which sought to impose a preconceived notion on Israel in particular and on the Palestinians as well.
Trump's recent Middle East visit shows he wants to include Middle East Sunni nations in a regional peace plan, yet it might have limitations.
Clearly the atmospherics in the region have improved, and the Israelis and the Saudis in particular have a common enemy in Iran. Is that going to play into Palestinian and Israeli negotiations in the way many people are hoping? I'm not sure.
David Weinberg sees a big difference between the Trump and Obama administrations.
The Obama administration took to hectoring Israel all the time, berating Israel. Trump has taken a different approach, work with Israel, see what's realistic, and time to give the Palestinians a dose of reality as well.
Part of that reality included reports President Trump shouted at Abbas in their recent meeting in Bethlehem. The president reportedly accused the PA leader of lying to him at the White House when he said the Palestinians are raising their children to live in peace with Israel, while official Palestinian media shows just the opposite. A White House official cautioned that an historic peace agreement between Israel and the Palestinians would take time, so expect more visits by negotiators Kushner and Greenblatt. Recently, we sat down with former Congresswoman Michelle Bachmann, who told us that this kind of peace between Israel and the Palestinians may never happen. In terms of the peace process, do you think this is like the tired old peace process that's been going on? They have confidence building measures, they jumpstart the peace process. Is the Trump administration just going down a dead end road?
Of course they're going down a dead-end road. I give the president accolades for his attempt to want to have peace. He certainly is not a warmonger. He's a man who desires to have peace, just like the Prime Minister of Israel, Beniamin Netanyahu, wants peace. We saw that right after the '67 war. The Israelis offered Resolution 242 to the Arabs in 1967. In other words, we'll go back to the '67 borders as long as we can have peace. What was the response of the Arabs? It was the Khartoum Declaration, which was no peace, no negotiation with Israel, and no recognition of Israel. The Arabs have been nothing but consistent. It is Jews, you die, and we take over the biblical lands of Israel. That's always been their position. Even if, Chris, President Trump today, this afternoon, was able to get a signature on a piece of paper from Mahmoud Abbas and the Palestinian Authority that, yes, we're going to have a peace agreement, that paper would be worthless because tomorrow would begin the war against the Jewish state. It is avowed in their charter that they are going to push the Jews into the sea. And that's where we have to be clear-eyed and wide-eyed to know what the intents are of the people that we're dealing with. And then, again, mitigate accordingly, act accordingly. And so if you have people whose intent is to kill you, do you sit down and sign a piece of paper with them and then give them rewards? Of course you wouldn't. That would be suicide to do that. And so President Trump has not spent his lifetime in policy. He's a remarkable human being. I've known him for 5 years, who conquers 3 industries in one lifetime. He conquered real estate, he conquered entertainment, he conquered the political world. He's an amazing person with gifts and talents off the charts. But I think that this has been a temptation to the one administration after another to think that somehow we'll be able to overcome the designs of the Palestinians, and we'll be able to, whether it's charm them or get them to see reason that you can live side by side peacefully with Israel. Israel's there. They would love to live side by side peacefully with the Palestinians. Your viewers are looking right down here at all Palestinian territory. Virtually the bulk of these buildings are inhabited by Palestinians. That's about as close as you can get to Jewish people. And the Jewish people say, fine, we don't have no problem with you living there. Let's just live in peace. But there's also a big wall down there. And why does there have to be a wall? Because the people who live in those Palestinian homes are only too happy to take knives, guns, and cars and do whatever it takes to kill the Jewish people, to get them out. That's called reality. That's a sobering reality. And I think every president needs to be apprised of what a sobering reality is. And unfortunately, we have too many, with all due respect, geniuses that have populated administration after administration and administration and fancy that they can somehow pull this peace process rabbit out of a hat with the Palestinians. And if you look at the Word of God, it's never going to happen. If you look at politics, it's never going to happen. If you look at history, it's never going to happen. Or if you look at sociology, it's never going to happen.
Appreciate it, Michelle, your expertise and analysis very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.